Welcome, 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 and thanks for listening. Tonight we're off to the sweltering heat in Tucson with the artist, author, mystic, and occult practitioner Marcella Kroll. Dr. Party and I really had a wonderful time connecting with Marcella and her many offerings. And especially, I think you're going to hear that Marcella is really focused on keeping the ancient traditions alive and allied with sort of modern times. And she really provides a lot of pathways into them for the practitioner. In fact, one of her recent art exhibits in Los Angeles at the Philosophical Research Society was called Pieces of Portals. And I think this idea of a portal is very important in Marcella's work. And we were grateful that she allowed us a portal into sort of her world here. We're really focused on her new oracle deck called the Initiates Oracle, which is just released. But I think the way we're using it is very interesting at Marcella's suggestion. We're sort of going on a little journey with it, a shamanic path, an opening for the initiation process. And I think you'll get really a taste of what Marcella's offerings are through this process. So just to set things out here, the cards we're drawing are under the rubric of the journey that starts off with the call, then there's the separation, then the descent, transformation, return, integration, and mastery. But even though these categories might sound familiar to you, I think it's really interesting that the way Marcella approaches them almost turns them into very relatable and sort of day-to-day experiences. In other words, you might not think you're going on an initiation and you're just having a normal day, but really the experience is that a lot of things, and perhaps everything, is an initiatory alchemical process, always unfolding. And our role is to just participate in the magic of life. But without further ado, here's Marcella. Well, Marcella, hey, I love this Initiates Oral deck, and I just saw that you had an art exhibit in LA at the PRS called Pieces as Portals. And I sort of love what you're getting at, the portals and initiations. It seems to be like you're opening up all kinds of things.
I mean, I hope so. Thank you for bringing up the art show and just the timing of it with the release of this deck. I feel like has been pretty important. There's this element of just wanting to kind of give people the opportunity to have their own process through magic and initiation. But also the art show, yes, is like an expression of visual mediumship for me, but I wanted it to be activated by magic, like with people who are interacting and engaging with it. So it's not just like, oh, this is just something you look at, but it can be used in a way of unlocking or inspiring like the next part of their journey or however they want to engage with magic. So we had a really cool panel discussion the night of the opening too, where we talked about, pieces as portals. And there was Lourdes Liner, she's a Tucson poet, was one of the speakers. Naha Armadi, who is the founder and main teacher over at 22 Teachings, which is a Hermetic magic school in LA. And then Alyssa Conger, who is a medium, an evidential medium. And we all, talked about the varying degrees of portals and the way we can engage with them either through divination or mediumship or even just everyday life. So that was fun.
Yeah. And the other thing that I kind of got a sense of is that the word pieces with that, because you have pieces, you have cards, and I saw that you also had in your exhibit ashes and dirt.
Yeah.
and things, and it seems to be like there's a physicality to it.
Well, and also I wanted to just like take away the idea that only certain things can transport you. And even though, maybe the expression of the medium is, or like, it's not just paintings, right? There's mirrors, there's paintings, there's pieces of clothing, even there's ritual wear in there. There's like a cape and a halter and like that have been painted and activated. So I wanted it to look at like, it's not just, it could be an everyday object, that can be recapitulated to be a tool. So all sorts of pieces, yes. And there are ashes from the Boleskine house in Scotland. There's dirt from Bronze Castle in Romania, like the Dracula castle, and just kind of again activating different energies into our reality. So I just like making things. I like making tools. I mean, if it comes down to it, that's why I make decks and books. I think everything it should lend to the purpose of assisting a person on their journey through initiation. Sometimes it might look like a mirror. Sometimes it might look like a deck. Sometimes it might look like a cape that you have to wear on that journey. Like, so yeah, all different types of physical objects.
Yeah. And so you're kind of offering those decks as part of your process, but maybe as a way to open up people that they can experience sort of their own physicality and process along with it?
I think so. Even the pieces like the paintings that are done on papyrus from Egypt, from my own adventure, my own initiations there, and giving access to instead of just a lot of the context of, for years I did one-on-one readings with people, and one of the things about creating decks was, how do I become more than just this one-on-one experience? How do we put that in other people's hands so they can have that ripple effect and it can go out and it's not just reliant on one person or one source? Because a lot of times we put all of our kind of authority or our own advancement contingent on one person's ability to see us or see us through. Now, I think it's good to have witnesses to initiation, whether it's like your own community or group, but I also think it's important to self-initiate into different parts of your reality, and to do that with I'm sorry, the dogs are barking. If there's other dogs are barking.
They're hearing the call. They're hearing the
Hearing
call.
the call, the journey, right? Yes. Like, please stop barking. But yeah, so I think there's so many ways to look at it. I think I started moving away from personal sessions because I got more into mentorship. Excuse me. I got more into mentorship and wanting to, like, how can I like help people feel ignited and actively take charge, or want to not just go to one person or one source, kind of come back to their own inner discernment and their inner authority.
Right, right. And I do know that you were offering classes this summer. I think they're full though, but maybe they'll be.
This year I stopped doing personal sessions, and I'm doing an apprenticeship program, and I've done it, spring, summer. I'll be opening up fall classes. Actually, September 1st, I'll be opening up my fall cohort for depth oracle training. But yeah, so moving more into the realm of like, how can I like not tell people like not how to do it like I do it, but how to do it the way they do it. And it's the same thing with with creating decks, right? It's like giving people the tools, but also here's some light instructions, but make it your own, right? I like to think of it like, with even like if you're learning to play an instrument, you can learn from a teacher, but how do you make it your own? How do you write your own music? You're not simply just mimicking. I mean, you can to learn, but ultimately, where's your own voice in that? So it's the same thing with divination, I think, and initiation. Yeah.
So if I could just ask a question here, if that's okay, not to interrupt the flow, but it sounds like you're inviting people to open themselves to a call, but also to be fully present to that, to be resonant in a way that um, doesn't just mean presence, but it also somehow means a kind of oversight of their own. Does that?
That rings true. Absolutely. I want people to have their own sense of authority in their work, but also, you know, give them some. I've learned a lot by doing and falling on my face in certain ways, whether, mistakes in the path or magic or trying to bypass certain things and things I wished I had people to talk to. So I'm like, let me share with you my experience, not to tell you to live the experience the same way, but maybe perhaps you can do this better or in a different way. Um,
So
so
building their own strength.
yeah, I like to teach with people, not at them. And that can be a little bit challenging, especially currently, because where a lot of people are just used to talking heads like at them, or being in this like receiving and just people talking at them, right? I don't like, that doesn't work for me. It makes me feel really uncomfortable, because it puts a hierarchy, like I would rather be like, I've done the thing where I've teach like from the podium and I hate it. I'll get down and I want to be like eye level and like go like, okay, we're all kind of yeah, maybe I know something and it's helpful for you, but we're all like, I'm also still learning, so, and I'm learning how to be um I don't know, like there's a lot that's changed for me, I would say personally, since my own personal initiations when I went to Egypt, which inspired this deck. And the way I show up has changed a lot. So I think, and that definitely relates to the way of sharing or inviting people to kind of be open, but also trust themselves and find their own path.
Sure. Is there a way that you would recommend that we could sort of get a taste of this deck? We had talked about maybe doing some, like beginning spread so that somebody could maybe open up and maybe hear a little bit of what's going on with the deck.
Yeah.
How would you recommend we get started just as a
I mean, there's definitely a couple of ways we can do that. I can pull, well, I think maybe we can. I know I kind of mentioned to you that I like the idea of an initiate's like journey spread, right?
Sure.
Where we pull, because in any hero's journey, right? Or even if you look at the trajectory of even traditional tarot and the major arcana, there's a story, right? Like there's the call, right? Which is like the awakening or the crisis or the thing that happens that summons the person, right? To their path, right? To their new life. And then there's separation, right? Which is the individual physically or emotionally, they have to like step away from their everyday life. And, there's a descent, or an underworld journey, right? Where they go through some kind of painful experience in this process as they're, being torn away from the familiar, and maybe they start to face their fears. I mean, this all is very much like the plot to most movies, right? Or
Right.
things, right? And then there's the transformation, right? Like, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking about like even do you remember Labyrinth with David Bowie, and like she has to. The crisis is she, wishes her brother to go to the Goblin King. And do you remember this movie in the 80s? Yeah,
It's been a minute. It's been a minute, but sure. Yeah, who doesn't love the
she's like,
David Bowie movies?
yeah, she's like, so mad about her baby brother and having to babysit him. And she like wishes the Goblin King would take him. And then David Bowie's the Goblin King and he takes him, right? So then she descends, like if there's the separation, she's going through this world trying to find her brother. She goes in and she's in the descent. She's facing all her fears, right? And then there's the transformation, right? In the process, right? There's something that happens, like a spiritual cleansing or an ego death, right? Like the person we thought we're not, right? And then there's the return. There's the coming back into the ordinary reality, right? But now you have this insight, this wisdom, and then the integration, like weaving this ordinary reality with the new insight. How do I apply it? But the final step of initiation, and it's not the final step of living, but it's mastery. And it's bringing everything to alignment and becoming that role, that guide, that teacher. So I know this is a little bit more like heavy duty for a spread, but it might be a nice way to get to know the deck itself. Because I think this deck lends itself not just to, I would say, like asking basic questions like, oh, do they like me? Like it's not like that kind of deck, right? It can be very helpful, but it's a really good deck for going like, okay, like what ritual can I work on right now that would be most supportive of my path? What needs to be faced? What needs to be uplifted? What needs to be shared? And so if we do this like as a 7-card spread, reflecting those things that I mentioned, it might be kind of a nice way to see what themes, and maybe we look at it as, I'm trying to think of like what we could look at it at like the current state of humanity and what is humanity's initiation it's going through right now.
Yeah. Or just here in this country, perhaps.
Just here. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, for sure. Or like, what's the initiation of happening for the United States and I have so many thoughts, but yeah.
Or maybe not.
My head just went somewhere else. I'm happy to do that. Let's see.
Let's do it.
Do you need something? I think she's very needy. I'm gonna put her back on the bed.
Sure.
But you have a deck.
Yes.
And
yes.
you have the.
Yes. Maybe. Should Lynn draw a card while you're doing that?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm drawing the card for you, Mike.
No. Okay. So here's the setup. So Lynn, Lynn, back in the day, Lynn and I are starting off on this adventure. We're both kids starting off on our journey.
Okay.
We're maybe hearing the call, right?
Yes.
So I'm knocking on her door and she's sneaking out of her house and we're going to go start a little journey perhaps.
I love it. I'm like,
Lynn? I'm going to Muscatine, Iowa. Is that right, Lynn?
That's right.
Yeah. Look at me go.
Give Muscatine a little plug there. They could use some help these days. Okay. So do I pull something?
Well, you're going to pull a card for him, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I can pull any card?
Any card.
Okay.
And this is the call. This is symbolizing the call.
This is interesting.
Marcella?
Okay, so
if I call for you, yes.
Can I hold up the card and you can see it?
Yes. Oh, union. Ooh.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. So this is the call for you, right? So thinking about this is the awakening, right? This is the vision that summons you to your path, right? On first glance of that too, what I'm noticing is like have you felt like a recent pull towards something that matches your spirit? Right? It's alchemy of the self, right? So maybe this next part, this call that's beckoning you, is about that balance, the alchemy of the self. It's the symbol of the alchemical marriage, right? So it's like bringing together. Do you feel like that? Have you
Yeah.
felt that?
The,
That
the,
merging?
yeah, the first thing that jumped out was that Lynn and I are both do African drumming in drum circles,
Mhm.
and I think I have a very much interest in sort of like trance like states, and
Mhm.
so to me, union is inviting the other to
Mhm.
um, participate in my reality.
Mhm.
And then, but the card seems to suggest almost that there's a male and a female with the snake, not necessarily an Ouroboros, but
Mhm.
um, which to me is like the reptilian undercurrent of everything, perhaps.
Well, and also like I see, I always have this relationship with like the serpent as well as it's deeply related to the oracle. It's deeply related to um like there's a protective aspect in of intuition that's being represented here. And I think yes, on a relational level, like it can relate to the balance of um opposites and dualistic nature of things. So sometimes to be considered whole in this, life is to balance these parts of ourselves and to bring them together. And there's transformation that can be had when we bring all those parts of ourselves together. But I think it's like there's like again, there's just like this merging of the self that I'm seeing. Like when we look at the snakes too, in this particular image, it's more like the caduceus, like, so there's like this healing process that's happening that that's the call, right? Like we're being called or summoned to this healing process, but it's because you're unified within yourself, or perhaps there's something that unifies you that you're being pulled to. So that's what I was kinda saying, like, is there something that you've been drawn to recently, whether in your practice that you're already doing or something that feels newer to you because it might be the thing that's pulling you into balance?
Right. And what's interesting, the way that you described it. See, typically when I think of the call, I think of it as more like going on an adventure outside yourself and happen to,
Mhm,
you're separating from your current reality. But
right?
but see, the what you're describing, I think maybe is more appropriate to what I'm doing. It's not so much that I'm going anywhere, but it's almost like I'm not following. I'm not out, doing ADDHD stuff, but I'm just like uh, encountering more of my own sort of stillness and silence, and
Mhm.
letting that. And so that would go along with your what you were talking about, union too. I think that union of not so much something external or having to do something
No, it's
outside,
internal.
but not even to go any place inside, but just kind of like open up to what's already there.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's that sometimes too, you see it with, like, what is it, in, like, clear, cognizance, like, it's just that all of a sudden, that fully formed thought that just drops in out of
Yeah.
nowhere, like, it
I
didn't
never have that, by the way, but I know, yeah, I know
matter.
what yeah,
Really?
I'm just kidding. I'm
Okay.
kidding.
But, like, that feeling, "Oh, whoa, wait a minute," and then all of a sudden, that's when we go into the separation, because then all of a sudden, we step away from everything that we've been doing, or at least we step outside of it with this new, like, "Wait, we have new eyes, like, we're seeing it differently." So, yeah, there's quite a few things. There's an interesting um awareness, and it's like what you just said, like having that, oh, maybe it's not outside of me, it's something that's happening internally. that's what's coming up for you.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
And it's almost not even, the cognizance is to me what I'm also not as interested. I'm not interested in sort of like this mental formation, but rather sort of the stillness of, because like you said, the mental formation creates a separation almost.
Mhm.
And so it is the lack of, have you have are you into like dark retreats at all? The idea of just total cessation
Oh,
of the like, and I have not done one, but I'm very kind of
I mean,
interested.
I've done like a sensory deprivation tank
Right,
before.
right, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that was intense.
But it's and in a way that's like getting the room dark and doing sort of like somatic experiencing or yoga nidra type stuff, and that's kind of like a little taste of it. But I mean that um, anyway, that's it. So this is an oracle deck.
Mhm.
How do you encounter the oracle? What does that mean to you, or how do you experience the oracle?
I personally, in the way that I view the oracle as an archetype, and when I think of um, the oracle is not like, if you're taking the path of the oracle, like, it is not something that you just try on and take off. I think you have to embody it in every part of your existence. So, and the oracle is not just like a prophet, like a prophetess or a seer, or like, the oracle is it's not just someone who does divination, right? The oracle is somebody who changes the energy of the room by their presence. The oracle can reflect back to you the wisdom that you already have, but just by holding up a mirror so you can finally see yourself, right? The oracle functions in a way not limited to, but can include divination, meditation, teaching, just existing, being a living embodiment, like being an organism within any, environment. But again, it's not something you can like turn on and off. But so the path and the commitment to the oracle comes with some caveats of things like, a lot of maybe being misunderstood, or punished in some ways, not, to, like, when I think of Cassandra, or like the Cassandra wound, which is, Cassandra was most notably a Pythia, and was basically given the gift of prophecy from Apollo. And then when Apollo made advances and she denied him, he couldn't take the gift back. So what did he do? He cursed her instead.
And
Um,
she's got a complex because of it.
Basically cursed her, yeah, so that, like, she would always know, like, the future and the truth, but would never be believed. So she foresaw, like, the fall of Troy and the Trojan horse, and she tried to warn everybody, and they mocked her, they dismissed her, and then there it is. Like, and I feel like sometimes too there is that energy that comes with being the oracle, but it's something that has to be worked through as part of, I think, the shadow of the oracle. Like, the shadow work of the oracle is having to be like, do you believe yourself though? Like, do you need this outside validation? Or do you really trust and listen to that channel above all? So oracle can hold ceremony, and I mean, there's just so many ways of, you know, being someone who embodies a lot in the physical plane that doesn't normally exist in the physical plane. Like, think of it like being the vessel that has to translate. It's like, imagine being like a magic 8 ball and like having to like translate the universe through a magic 8 ball. Like that's like a big difference. Like that's a big gap, right? So like how do you become able to synthesize down all of the things that you're seeing, feeling, sensing, and then spit it out to make sense? And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's riddles and guesses and, you know, just again, reflecting back to other people. Well, what do you see? You know, and then realizing they've had it within them all along. So yeah, it's a job, an archetype. I don't know. Like,
And then the part that's so interesting as you describe this is that the oracle also then has to find or to sense in oneself the ability to manage the pain of being spurned, even as you're trying to do something that, is helpful in the world. And yet, I guess the curse is that you can't really turn it off. So,
you can't, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And you can't just live a normal, regular life. Like,
Right, right.
but in that, they also they're not immune to having to face there's the beauty in the world, there's the horrors in the world. They see it all, right? Or
Yes.
they feel it all. But they also have to face a lot of those things by themselves because there's a lot of things reflected back to them, like, we don't believe you. We don't believe you that these horrors are happening.
Yes.
Just like we don't, or they could even be, again, it feels like shadow work for the oracle is like dealing with that. And then putting your words out there and learning how to use your voice regardless. So, yeah. I mean, there's a whole lot that can happen with that. I did a retreat in February, and I'll say this because it's related to the deck, called The Altar Within. And I had just gotten the sample copy of the deck from my publisher, and I was like, ooh, I'm going to outline my retreat with the deck by going through the idea of the retreat. The offering was that the altar within was that you are the offering, right? And so we would have like different meditations, activities, but I outlined it by using the deck. So I would like, what is our first gathering, our welcome gathering? What is the theme? And I'd pull a card, right? And like that would be the topic or the ritual based on what card I pulled, or it would inform what the ritual would be. It would inform what the conversation would be. It would inform what the teaching would be. So for each day I would have I outlined it by pulling a card for each. So that was pretty cool to be able to also divine and use this deck with that, because it helped bring some of the teachings in, but letting it be accessible, whether or not you had a formal magical path working, which I do not, Shh. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry.
Is there since we had pulled the union card,
Yeah.
I'm wondering, is there an aspect of the oracle in the union? Is that
An aspect
do you see those are related? Like, is there an aspect of union that you try to develop, or do you aspire to develop with the oracle, or is it just more a different sort of dynamic?
I think the aspect with well, I think with the union, it's meant, I think for each individual, the union card can apply, in the balancing of oneself. I mean, it could relate to the oracle, as as you brought up. But I guess I'm not sure. I feel like it could apply to anyone, not just the oracle. Yeah. Yeah. Did you want to maybe look at that concept of, doing a reading around kind of like the world, maybe just like maybe what the collective of people maybe listening to this or who are open to this message, like what is the initiation, that journey that they're going through maybe right now and during these changing times?
Absolutely.
Okay. Because I feel like even focusing on this country, it's like there's quite a few journeys happening for people.
I hope so.
Focusing it on our collective of listeners.
We'd be an awful boring country if not.
Seriously. I'm gonna, okay. Excuse me. I'm just gonna let her out. And
no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm gonna go. We're gonna go. Lynn and I will maybe draw another card for the next one, or should we wait for you to get back and do?
It'll be like 2 seconds. I'm just gonna open the store, and I'm thinking.
I think we'll wait for you.
Yes, there we go. There we go.
Okay, never a dull moment. Okay. So the call, the union, right? So the next card would be the separation.
Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm. That's scary.
What?
I don't even have the card yet, and I'm afraid. No, I'm.
Okay, so am I supposed to pull a card now?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
What is the
Well, here's what we have.
What? Divinity. Ooh, nice.
Well, what's interesting is, right, even just looking at the image, right? I mean, you see the people, they're standing before each other. And almost, don't you feel that's very symbolic of like kind of humanity right now? Like feeling kind of like looking at, like observing in this kind of spectacle of a place, like individualism, right? But also self-realization, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, and I think it's also really interesting that we're in this time of the proclaimed individual, but also we're trying to figure out what community and collective mean. We want those things, but we've been hyper like made aware of how we had to be individualists, right? Like how, so this is kind of the separation in our, like stepping away from our normal everyday lives. So maybe the things that we elevated in our lives, the people, the places, the things, the jobs, the identities, these are the things we're stepping away from. And we're looking like from an outside perspective. Like the visual that I get is, I mean, not to be too grim here, but I had a near-death experience. And I remember at one point being outside of my body and looking at myself. It's almost that got that feeling to it for me anyway. Like when I'm thinking of that, like this separation, like we're finally observing ourselves from a different place. And in that, we can embrace like our own inner authority. We can embrace our own sovereignty, our own individuality, but we also have to look at our impact and our effect on each other. I think there's also the stepping away because it is the separation position. It's like stepping away from what makes us so special in a way, like, and looking at the bigger whole, like that can be traumatic, right? To step away from everything you thought made you special, right? Again, it's not, we get the call, the separation, and then we're going to go into the descent, which is, oh, whoa, the fears. After we've made this realization that we're separating from the things that we've identified with that made us so luminous, that made us so special. Because you got to look at the yes, there's the card, but then we have to look at the position, right? Mm-hmm. And so because it's separation, if it was, say, transformation or the return and you pulled that card, it would have a different meaning, I think. Like a different understanding. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting, and again, it sort of goes against the way that you usually think of divinity bringing people together, and then this is in a way. I'm still trying to feel into this though. I mean, I think that there is a fear that when you encounter sort of, I'm going to, instead of using the word divinity, I'm going to use the word numinous. You know, that like this sort of the aspect that there's, at least from my own experience, there's always a fear in facing something that, you know, this thing that's beyond us, this transcendence, this divinity is, to me, I mean, the idea that, you know, if you really encounter the divine, it's terrifying, you know,
Right.
the in the Jobian sense, you know, um, so yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Well, yeah. And then also, if we're looking at it from a collective perspective, I mean, look at everything that you see, even in like spiritual, I don't know, like spiritual TikTok, spiritual Instagram, like all of these platforms that host spiritual concepts, right? And the division in that, like the things that are supposed to unite us are actually separating us, like more by righteousness or who's, you know, what's real, what's not. Um, it's a really interesting thing to think of divinity in a way of separation and how it's
Yeah.
dividing us.
Or even the crass separation of the different monotheistic faiths seem to be in tension, you know, between in the Middle East and elsewhere, you know, as
Right. It's
yeah.
it's the thing that's supposed to unify us to
Right.
something like some universal whole, like thing, like some universal love or whatever it's supposed to be, but we're actually more separate. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Is it
So
time
then
to?
it would lead you to the descent,
Yes.
which is
Is it?
it's descent time. It's time.
Oh.
Oh my. Okay,
Okay.
so
What's
No
another
pressure,
another
Lynn. You're in charge of the descent. Where are we
oh
going?
my. Okay. No pressure, Lynn. Yeah. Okay, well this is I'm
Be the
not
psychopomp and take us to the underworld.
okay. Well, I'm not sure I've done that here. I don't quite know how this card would fit with it. So I'll show you and you can tell me if maybe it was
Intuition.
Ooh, intuition.
You're like, you're on your own. Here's your
yeah.
lantern.
Yeah, I'm not sure how as you were describing the descent, so I'm
Hmm.
so happy to be able to turn that challenge over to you.
I think I'm going to punt on that too.
Maybe if you want, I can do a do-over. It's entirely up to
No, I
you.
think it's
I'm at
No.
your mercy.
honestly, I think it's perfect because I mean, if look at the idea of a lantern, right? Say we are walking in complete darkness and we just have a lantern and what that lantern can do, right? The underworld is where we go into the inner self. We go to face our fears, right? Do you ever remember being like a kid or like having a light or a candle and a shadow and something's much bigger than it is? Or, it's like, oh my goodness. And we have to take one step at a time. The lantern is not going to illuminate the whole thing. It's just going to illuminate where you hold it, right? So it's really asking you that as you go into the underworld using your intuition while you're there to face the things you need to face, not necessarily the biggest or scariest but like, where do I need to go? And sometimes that's terrifying to have to trust yourself, or, face those painful inner parts, those things that you're most scared of. But it's through that honoring of your psychic senses and your own wisdom that you get through the underworld. I think that's pretty cool. Like, we get to go into the scary, like, if you're like, oh my goodness, I can't see anything, or something's illuminated and it looks terrifying, but then you have to go confront it, right? And then you realize, like, oh, wait, that was just its shadow, or that was just this. Like, there's, I like that it's this, like, our intuition, our inner navigation system that's bringing us to the things that we need to look at. And it's only going to illuminate that, and all of the other stuff that might be filler or side notes or add-ons might not even be visible because the lantern won't light it, won't light it up.
That is so interesting. It's so evocative. That's very, very interesting. It's sort of having to be situated in your presence of self and deal with simply what's before you without sort of the glare of everything around you. That's a very evocative image.
And just think of it like what's that phrase? Like, everywhere you go, there you are.
Yes,
The thing.
yes.
Yeah. And maybe having to just look within again, but also without the distraction of everything else, cutting in or distraction or kind of a momentary oh, I got to put out that fire. I got to put out that fire before I deal with this. And this is no. You're walking through and you're illuminating the very things that you need to see. So again, it's a very so far this spread, it's like this very internal journey. There are cards that relate to the external world, but so far what we've pulled has been very much about the internal journey that's happening. So I think that says a lot too. So
does that resonate with you, Mike?
Well, it's interesting because I kept thinking the way you were describing it of the Fool and the tarot deck. Usually is associated with the lantern and intuition,
the Hermit.
but not the Fool, the Hermit. I'm sorry. Yeah,
it's okay.
Yeah, I am the Fool, obviously, but you're correct, the Hermit.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't associated that with the underworld. I haven't associated the Hermit with being in the underworld, but
right.
But obviously it could be because he's lit up. It's just like a new, oh yeah, of course.
Well, he's also carrying in the tarot, in his lantern, it's the star.
Yeah.
The star from the star card is in his lantern. Yeah.
And so I noticed, to go on a little sidetrack, you've got another book, Marcella, called Psychic Self-Defense.
Oh, yeah, magical shielding.
Yeah. Well, that's coming out, right?
Yes, that's coming out on March 1st, I believe. Yeah, but it's a psychic self-defense guide.
Yeah, which I thought reminded me of Dion Fortune's book,
yes.
kind of the similar type, which reminded me of since we were talking more about our country writ large. She had an interesting, when she was involved in World War II.
Yes.
An interesting defense to the fascists coming in from the continent, not to get sucked into the energy of what was coming from Germany, but the internal light and the power within, which would kind of go along with the descent and the intuition card that you pulled, perhaps, of finding what was good about England and their history, as opposed to being sucked into the BS coming from elsewhere.
That also tracks with her whole, connection to psychic self-defense and protection, strengthening from within, right? And she talked a lot about if something's off, it's usually because your etheric double is being hit, and kind of strengthening from within in your own resources, because she said if there's holes in that, essentially, I'm paraphrasing here, but you're more prone to outside influence, right? If your own inner is not strengthened enough.
Yeah. So that's, and you don't, I guess I hadn't thought of that as a descent, but it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the next point of the journey would be transformation. And so this is the part of the story where the initiate is going through they've faced the fears, right? They've stepped away from their life. They've faced their fears. They're going through this period of like cleansing and ego death, right? So like really changing, think of it like that. Yeah. So this is the transformation. So what does the transformation look like?
All right.
Lynn, what
Here we go.
direction? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of love that because this is like the plot twist. Like, it's like, it could go any direction, right? Like at this point, like this literally, this card is a finding your way card, right? Like it's where you receive your next instructions. It's the road is starting to open before you, like you're preparing. So I think in this period, especially with this direction and having it relate to the ego death, I think this also pertains to the transformation is becoming the new assignment, right? Like, well, if the old is not, if I'm supposed to do this and the old is not here anymore, if I'm no longer like, who am I without my fears? Right? Because that's the other thing. Some of us get caught up. Our life purpose is based on what we're afraid of, right? Well, what if you don't have those things to be afraid of anymore? What's your next move? Right? So I feel like this is in the transformation is like the initiate gets to decide what's the next step. I'm ready. I'm ready to receive direction. And so there's also, if you look on the card, right, you'll see there's the 4 directions, right? There's the 4 cardinal directions. There's also like the arrows that represent direction. And there's this, I feel like this is like all roads are open. Anything is possible, right? So it also means that the paths are opening up. They might not be fully revealed just yet, but the paths are opening up. So if there were any, like all of the obstacles and the pain and the fears, all that stuff feels like it's gone in this transformation. So yeah, I think there's also a level of trust that has to happen at this point of the initiation. That's one thing I think is hard sometimes for humans, is to not jump to, oh no, all right, I got to figure out what's next. There's something about being kind of stationary in this transformation and just being like, I just have to stay here until this is complete, and I'll know what to do when it shows itself.
Is the direction that you're kind of feeling into here, is this like, I'm almost getting the sense that this kind of is the intuition manifested, because now you're actually taking action on the intuition. Is that sort of the sense that you're getting? Because the way you've got this deck is a little bit different, but that's the way I'm sort of.
I think it's like, it is part of the action is waiting, like is knowing that all roads are clear, everything is lining up. And this is the cleansing period, right? In transformation, like this is the kind of like, this is the thing where we're like, I have no idea who I am anymore. But because I don't have this fear or I like sense of who I used to be, but I'm not quite in the new yet. So the action is almost in the idling, waiting, but we're not impatiently waiting. We're not stuck. We're not being held back. We're being stripped clean. So the direction is like anything is possible right now, which can be, there's no going back and there's no going forward yet. But the next card after the transformation is the return, which will tell us, okay, like, so what is the next step, right? Because again, we had to get away from everything we knew, face every fear we had, get back to neutral, get back to this place where we're like, almost like a clean slate, you know, not perfection, but not without faults, not without a history, but from a place where we can energetically reset. So that's the cleansing, right? The relighting the pilot light to go again, right? Almost like refueling after like you've been on a road trip and you're like, okay, we got to refuel, we got to maybe stop and eat something. What is next?
All right. What is next, Lynn?
Return.
Right.
What is the
Here we
return?
go.
Return. This is coming back up into the ordinary reality.
Ooh, virtue. Ooh, nice.
I know. Look at all the books on the card too, right? Like this
Love those books.
right. And this is like we're coming back up to the new reality where we're coming up with our we've got new insight, right? We have new perspective. And so with virtue, when I think of virtue, is like it's not about moral superiority, right? It's about trustworthiness, you know, being ethical, but again, not morally superior, right? It's like, look at all this stuff I learned. I learned how to not be afraid of myself, or I learned how to let go of these things that I thought defined me. Right? Maybe what I once thought was true, it doesn't mean it's not true still for others, but maybe it's different now. So there's almost this understanding of having more wisdom and returning with that wisdom and sharing that wisdom as their experience, not as gospel, but as this is what happened to me. Right? So embodying that. So that's what they're embodying. Yeah.
Is there any significance that this is the last card in the deck in terms of your booklet, or is it not? Virtue concludes the book
It's just
that accompanies the Oracle deck.
No, it's just in alphabetical order in the.
Okay. I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you call that? Where you read something in that's not there?
Yeah, it's
okay. All right.
So then the integration.
Yeah. Next step in is integration.
Yeah, there's integration, right? So this is how do we weave these new lessons into our regular life, right? Because you could come back and you could have all the like spiritual mastery, right? But then you got to like apply it, right? So like, wait, I got to come back into the, into the muggle world and like how do I weave this virtue into there, right? So what does that integration look like?
So that's the next card?
Yes.
Okay.
Offering, nice.
I love that.
Yeah, that is nice. That's great for an integration card.
Beautiful card.
Yeah, it's a great way to like apply it, right? It's like the gift, it's the devotion, it's service, it's it's like acts of giving and receiving, right? So you share it. You share the wisdom, you share yourself, you share your experience. I mean, I think this is a perfect way to like integrate that virtue, right? Like the integration. And there's balance here, right? Yeah, there's balance here. I love that.
I noticed that you've have a similarity with an offering with Keter. Is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Is in your book the symbolism says Keter?
The Kether. The Kether.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For offering, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah. And then, also like there's if you look at the card, right? I'm trying to look at the card too here. There's a few things, right? We have the Kether, we have the tree, with the tree of life behind it, the Ka, the Ba, and the Heka. There's this understanding that the spirit goes on beyond the physical, and there's this element of especially with the Heka, that things can move in these mysterious ways. Like the Kether is the right, the highest point, right? And through that, it can symbolize that, like that consciousness state. We can't, I mean, yes, it would be nice for all beings to be able to get there. But every time you make these offerings, every time you offer yourself or of service or these things, you tap into that, right? You tap into your purpose, you tap into that higher consciousness, right? You don't necessarily get there, but you're making contributions to that space. Mm. And then through those offerings, right? Which is interesting. We would think like maybe the offerings would be part of the mastery, because that's right, stepping into the role of guide or teacher, but it's not. So the final part of this particular initiation, the mastery, would be, that full alignment, right? So it would be the final card. What would that final card be?
All right. So we're going for the final card.
Mastery. Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
Manifestation. Well, no big deal. I mean, it literally is the tree of life, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it is the incarnation of our desires. It is the alignment of all of the efforts that you've put in, right? So the whole journey, because even people who are on a hermetic path or walking, the tree of life, isn't that the whole point? You have to walk the whole tree, right? So
yes,
and that's a initiation of itself, right? So it is I love that the mastery is reaching full alignment and stepping into the role as the guide or the teacher, is because you've walked the walk, you've talked the talk, you've been on the path, you've done the thing, right? So yeah, there's a lot that's ripe here.
I love this because it's almost like turtles all the way down.
Yeah.
Because you the mastery is the journey.
Journey, right? Yeah. It's like, and there you go. You're like,
yeah, start all over again.
Yeah,
but you weren't even on a journey because you were already there.
You were already there. I mean, that's the kicker of it all, right? You're like, oh, geez, this could have been an email. No.
Yeah.
But did you not get it, right? I mean, I think that is the thing about being human too. No matter how much someone breaks it down and explains to you, doesn't matter, whatever religion, whatever way, whatever email, whatever note, there's nothing like just going through it and having that experience, right? I think it started raining.
In Tucson?
Yeah, just now.
No way.
Yeah.
I thought it was snow. I was there a couple of weeks ago. I brought my downhill skis and I was badly misinformed.
Oh, no, it was, yeah. Well, Wednesday, we had quite a storm Wednesday, and there was a ton of hail up in the mountain.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and it was wind and a lightning storm for the lightning storm was and wind was for 45 minutes or so, to the point where everybody's phones, the alarms were going, the emergency alerts, and then it just poured for 3 hours, and then so but I mean, it's perfect timing.
Exactly. Well, but before we leave, I understand you're going to Colorado here soon.
Yes. Yeah. At the end of this, the last weekend of this month, I'm doing a deck signing at Ritual Craft, which is a shop in Denver. They're one of my favorite shops that I like to go and do. I like to go visit. I like to shop there. I like to teach there. And so I'll do a deck signing on August 28th. And I'm going to also lead a Gifts of Egypt past life meditation. And this is going to be a guided meditation that, it centers around if you feel like you've had past lives in Egypt, but also if you just feel connected to the Egyptian pantheon and magic, like just to kind of see what messages you can receive from them. And then the next day, August 29th, I will be doing a letter to my former self workshop, which will be a letter writing workshop and a cord cutting ritual to accompany it. So if you're wanting to let go of an old identity or a relationship or habit or anything that you're needing to kind of let go of, to kind of make it like a full rounded ritual experience, we're going to do the letter writing as well.
And you've got a book on cutting cords too, don't you? Where it's related to
I had a
that?
zine, from a while back, like from oh gosh, it's like 16 years old now, or something. No, 11 years old now. Cutting the cord. It was a zine that I made in like 2015, and then so that kind of like really kickstarted a lot of. That came out around the same time as Sacred Symbols, which was my first deck. Like it came out a couple of years later. But yeah, so I'm just trying to like keep busy and keep making things that hopefully can help other people be inspired to make things or support them on their path.
Yeah. And you have a book coming out in 2027 on magical shielding, right? And
yes.
And there's Incantations 125.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's what I'm incantation. So I just signed two contracts with Wiser. So Incantations 125 is going to be, it's kind of inspired by Spell 125, which is in the Book of the Dead. And it's going to be all, magical incantations for all sorts of things. It's a little bit more poetic. And then the Divine Infernals deck, or it's not a deck, it was going to be a deck, but it's going to be a book actually, is all about kind of infernals, darker gods, goddesses, demons, things like that. Just kind of a reference book. And it's just been kind of a special interest thing for me lately, and I've been really enjoying drawing them. So I wanted to create something that people could reference or get to know and understand the balance of the shadow and not just like look at things as good or bad.
Oh, wonderful.
People have a lot of, ideas about darker kind of gods or goddesses or like demonal, like they think of it as one way. And so I wanted to make something that was a little more well-rounded.
Oh, wonderful. So you've got a lot of stuff in the works. Wonderful.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm excited though. I feel like it's a good problem to have right now. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, an abundance of riches in many ways.
Yeah. I mean, I feel really fortunate that I get to, obviously, like, this has been my reality for a long time. Like, I think, and again, back to just full circling with the Oracle, like, I don't get to just like put the Oracle hat on and take it off when I want to. It's like, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to express that in this life in a way that supports me. And I'm grateful for that.
Oh, wonderful. Well, we appreciate your time, and thanks for having on and sharing this wonderful new Oracle deck and a wonderful way to understand it and work with it in our sort of own journeys.
Thank you so much. Thank you both.
It was great to meet you and to be able to share that process with you. This is all very new to me, and so this is really a very interesting process, and it was great to meet you and get just a real sense of the depth of your wisdom and what you bring and your artistry and how those things. It's just marvelous. So very nice to meet you.
You too. Yeah. Thank you.
And I heard there's a good bookstore in Tucson you could buy this at, perhaps.
Yes. That's right. Yeah, I know them. Nexus Occult Books and Oddities in Tucson. There's definitely a place you can get the Initiate's Oracle or other fine retailers in your city if you're.
All right. Thank you, Marcella. Many blessings. Have a great week.
Thank you. Yes. And to your dog, bless her heart.
Yes.
Thank you.